And when I'm thinking about from every single industry, I feel like every time I log into Instagram, I'm seeing business brand crises that are happening every single day.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
one thing that I'm not seeing is accountability. That is the one thing that I am not seeing, and it is there are statements. I don't even think Oracle's put out I haven't seen a statement from Oracle, but I haven't seen
Yeah.
accountability. And so I feel like this conversation is so timely because maybe you're listening and you're sitting inside of an organization that needs to take accountability for a
Mhm.
recent crisis that they had. Or maybe you got let go from an organization and
Yeah.
there was no real explanation and you're not seeing even a public apology. They just moved on. And
Yep.
like, again, to your point, Christina, it's affecting real people
Yeah.
internally and externally. People are watching, and it can really hurt your brand in the long run if you're
Yeah.
deciding not to address any of your missteps without accountability attached to it.
Yeah. I think a lot of companies are really counting on that like 2-week news cycle and the fact that all of us
Yeah.
are just like moving through content like
Over.
this and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
hoping we forget. And I think there's some truth to that, to be
Yeah,
honest, and
it
in
is.
their fairness to them, there is some truth to that. People do move on and forget. There's a lot of people who don't care that much about
That's
what
true.
you've done and they're still going to buy your product. But there are a growing number of people, and this is why you need to know your audience too, because if you are trying to sell to millennials and below, they care.
They care.
Yes.
They
We
care.
care.
Thank God.
We definitely care. And like I will remember, we love to pick on Target, but like I have not set foot in a Target in over a
Man,
year.
Yeah.
I remember. I care.
I still remember. I know the Black community remembers. I know that
Mhm.
much. Yeah,
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
I
And
used
that
to
was
hate a Costco because it's overwhelming for me, but their response made me go to Costco.
yeah,
Yeah.
It
yeah.
matters.
It does matter. I'm
Does.
thinking about how Delta Airlines with the TSA issue that's happening right now, and they took a stand and made
Mhm.
all of those Congress people, you got to be in the same lines as everybody else. And guess what? People are online talking about that very
Yeah.
positively. And
Mhm.
it's just like, when you're doing things like that, your audience is watching. That I mean, really, that's the gist of this conversation. Honestly, this whole entire episode, they're watching. So
Yeah.
how are you taking accountability for missteps? Honestly, then there's brands that are taking it further, like I mentioned, Delta. How are you holding other people accountable for their missteps?
Right.
That's
Mhm.
even taking
Yeah.
it a step further.
That
That's a
is taking
whole
that
other
step
thing.
further.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Not just for your missteps, but how are you holding people adjacent to your business publicly accountable for their
Mhm.
missteps?
I love
Yeah,
that.
How are you using the power that you hold to align with your
absolutely.
values, to show your consumers, your stakeholders, your stockholders that you care? How are you showing that? How are you showing up?
Yeah, something to
Yeah.
consider. It's definitely something to think about. We understand the world is burning. We understand there's so many things to be concerned about. But if you are bold enough to build a business in this era of life and time of humanness where so much is happening, these are things that you should be thinking about, especially if you are a business, a startup, a new business that you want to stand out in the crowd. This is how you do it. If you make a mistake, take accountability for it, and you make sure that your messaging and everything about your branding supports that. If you're an established business, people are looking at you even harder, right? Because there is a built-in audience there that's watching you, that's supporting your business. Remember to take accountability for that. Make sure that it feels authentic, and remember that your intent is much lower on a totem pole than your impact,
Yep.
for sure.